Hello and welcome to the comprehensive course on data science, machine learning and artificial intelligence. Here we want to first discuss about virtual environments, and we are doing chapter 2, in which in lecture 1 and 1a and lecture 1b we have already seen what is the need of virtual environment and how to create virtual environment on Windows and on Ubuntu. Now in this lecture, we want to talk about how to create virtual environment on Mac operating system. However, even if you are having Mac, I will still urge you to go through the lectures 1A and 1B for Windows and Ubuntu also, because that give the high level idea of what is virtual environment, why it is required, what are its benefits. And many of the commands which we are going to use here for Mac, they will be the same for Ubuntu also. For example, starting from this line, that is this particular line, everything up to the end, that is from step 8, these are the steps which are written for you for Mac operating system. So everything from step 8 to 12, that will remain same whether you are doing it on Ubuntu 22.04 or any Ubuntu recent one, and whether you are doing it for Mac operating system. Just the thing is, on Mac you have to do few steps before doing these steps, while in Ubuntu Python is readily installed, and command line and terminal and all things are ready, so you don't have to do some prior steps or prerequisite steps which are required. So this all before the step 8 from 1 to 7, they are specific to Mac operating system, but rest of the steps, these steps from 8 to 12, these are common steps whether you are using Ubuntu or whether you are using Mac. Unfortunately, I don't have the hardware for the Mac, so that is why I will be able to show only these steps, that is up to 1 to 8. But once that much is 1 to 7, once that much is created, thereafter from state 8 onwards, you can do the same steps on Ubuntu terminal also. So there I will be able to show you. But here, let us start doing. Suppose you purchased the brand new Mac laptop and nothing is installed except the operating system and few basic packages. So first thing which you have to do if you want to use it for data science, deep learning, artificial intelligence, anything, is you have to install your own package manager. That package manager is called Homebrew. So this is required only once. If you have already installed some packages on Mac, then perhaps you are already having this Homebrew, then skip that step. But assuming you purchased a fresh Mac, so in that case, open the terminal. So here in the Ubuntu, we write terminal in the activities bar, or we can also open the terminal from the sidebar if you have created the shortcut, or you can use Control Alt T. On Windows, there is search icon, that magnifying glass like icon, where you write CMD and press enter. So the command prompt, which is the terminal for window, that opens. Similarly, here there is a spotlight like icon, where you will type terminal and press enter, so the terminal will open. Once the terminal open, assuming your username is eCube, okay, then in that case you will see somewhat like this kind of prompt. Okay, so all prompts in this, whatever you are seeing on the screen, they are in the red color. Okay, and everything after that in the black color, that is the command which you have to execute. Command is a little bit long, initial few commands, but as I said, you don't need to worry because these commands are required only once in the lifetime of your laptop. So once you have purchased a new laptop and done this command, thereafter you don't have to do that again and again. Okay. So first command is installing Homebrew. Now Homebrew is available from this URL. There is an installation shell script sh. So you have to download that shell script using curl, and thereafter in next step, once it is downloaded, in this step the bin bash means you are executing that shell script. So in one step you are downloading and executing the Homebrew. Okay, so this step is looking a little bit long. Bin bash hyphen small c and dollar curl fssl https, that is that location from which you can get the Homebrew, and install.sh. Fine. Now once Homebrew is added, that much is not enough. You have to add Homebrew to the path so that it is available on the command line. Here you can just type brew, and if it is already available on the path, then you will be able to execute some command like this brew update. But if it is not available on the path and you run this command brew update, then it will throw an error that there is no package named brew or something like that kind of thing. So brew is installed, but it does not know where it is. So you have to tell it the path where it is installed, right? Now there are two types of hardware for Mac. One is this M1, M2 and M3 type of chip, which are called Apple Silicon chips, and another are this some people are using still Intel chips. So depending upon them, command is slightly different. If you are using silicon chips, then this is the command to add brew, which is already downloaded and installed, to your path. So this is the initial part of command. This says copy this to .z profile. So that is a hidden file. Anything which starts from dot, that will not be visible in the graphical user interface, and this is the home directory. This tilde symbol is just a short form for this whole /user/eq. Okay, so then it is this .z profile is created in your home directory, and in which the path in which the brew is already installed in the previous step, that is copied. If it is Intel Mac, then the command is almost similar. You can see this part of the command is also almost similar, but this part, the part after this greater than symbol, that is slightly different. Here in the silicon it is opt Homebrew, while it is in the Intel it is /user/local bin brew shell environment. So that is the only difference. Apart from that, both commands are same. But once you do this, based on your hardware, either do this or do this. Okay, and thereafter if you execute this command brew update, then it will not throw any error. It is just like on Ubuntu, and I urge you to go through previous two lectures for Windows as well as for Ubuntu. Even though I know that you are using Mac, that's why you are paying attention in this lecture. but please go through those two lectures also. So just like in Ubuntu, you use apt get update or simply apt update, sudo apt update. Similarly, here you write brew update. So all the repositories or all the sources from which various packages will be downloaded on your Mac, they are updated. Okay. Now you have to install Python. This step is required on Windows because Windows does not come with built-in Python. This step is not required on Ubuntu. Ubuntu come all versions of Linux come with built-in Python installed, and this step is again required on Mac. So you have to install Mac, and once your package manager brew is installed, there you can just write brew install Python at this 3.11 or whatever version you want to install. We are using 3.11 in this course, so you will install that version. Then the problem again is same as with brew. You installed brew, but it did not know, your system did not know where the brew is. So you had to add brew to the path, right? Similarly, here also Python is installed, but if you write this command here, that is Python version, then it will throw error directly because it does not know where is the Python installed. So you are again telling it that this is the path. So add Python wherever Python is installed, its installation location that you are exporting, and again that is saved in same file, that is .z profile file, okay, in the home directory. So that saves the location of path. If it is Apple Silicon, then this is the command, and if it is Intel Mac, then this is the command. Again, you can see just a little bit difference comes here. For Silicon, it is /opt /homebrew /opt /python, while for Mac, it is /user /local /opt Python at 3.11. So that much is different. This part and this part, they are different depending upon your hardware. But once they are saved in your Z profile, thereafter if you activate means just make the changes whatever you have written to the Z profile, you have to make it effective. Otherwise you have to stop the close the terminal and then restart the terminal by using this command, or sometimes you even have to shut down the Mac and restart the Mac. But this small command actually makes those things unnecessary. You can keep your terminal on and Mac also running and just write this small command, that source means making all the changes which are in this Z profile file effective immediately. So they are effective now. So that means Python's path as well as Homebrew's path is now known to the system, and you can immediately check this by executing this command Python 3.11 hyphen hyphen version or Python hyphen hyphen version, and it will show you Python 3.11.5 or something like that. Okay, so these many 7 steps, they are the extra steps which are required for Mac operating system, which are not required for Ubuntu. Okay, because Ubuntu is mainly developers system, so certain things are provided in built-in. So you can take the screenshot of this part so that it will remain with you. Those who are listening to this lecture as a part of my learners in my online course, they need not take screenshots throughout the course because they already have the notes. But if you are listening on YouTube, then please take the screenshot. Okay, now the steps which are next, these steps are exactly the same whether you do them on Ubuntu or whether you do them on Mac. So what I am doing is I want to do for Mac, but I'm doing on Ubuntu, and I will just pretend that I am doing on Mac. So that means this in my Ubuntu there is already that, because this library, sorry, this virtual environment and all the directory and everything, they are already created, but I will have to pretend that they are not existing. So what we will follow, which workflow will follow throughout the course is, any project which we want to start, we will create a folder whose name is the name of that project. Here, what is the my project? Then I want to create a course on basic data science. So that is why I am creating basic DS underscore pi 311. Okay, that course I am creating, and then inside I will create a virtual environment. So this is that virtual environment. I have already created it, but I will show you the steps at that time. When you create this directory, if I go inside, it will be completely empty. And then when I create this virtual environment will have this particular things. Okay. So let me do one thing, that this I am already having this because I have created all my entire course in this. So that is why you can see all chapters and 30 chapters and their exercises and everything is there here. Okay, so I cannot delete my existing, that's why I'm just renaming it or saving it as a backup, so as basic ds pi 311 old, so that now in my home directory, this is my home directory, and I am saying pretend that this is Mac's home directory, because even on Mac also the name will remain user eCube or user John if your name is John, whatever. But then this, it will look like this only. So now there is no basic ds pi 311. So now we are doing the steps which are common whether you are on Ubuntu or whether you are on. So now in this Mac base environment, there is no basic ds pi 311. So we will create it. And how to create it, then these are the steps. And the steps remain the same whether you are on Mac or whether you are on Ubuntu. So that is one good thing about Mac compared to Windows, that it makes it easier to ultimately, when you require transition to Ubuntu or any Linux based system, then it makes it easier for you. Okay, so let us create that directory. So command is successfully executed. Now let us see whether that directory is created or not. So you can see here, this was my old which I saved as a backup, and this is the directory which is created. But currently it is empty. When you create anything by makedir command, make directory, it will be empty directory. Okay. Now I want to uh, create Python virtual environment inside that. So I'm going first inside that empty directory. So cd and home. Home means it is the short form of this whole thing, and then I'm going inside. So where I am now, I am here. Okay, now here my virtual environment will be created, and I told you that virtual environment is also as such nothing but a new directory only. But the difference is, this time it is not created by makedir command, but it is created by this special command python-m whenever, and then whatever is the path where you want to create your virtual environment. So here this is the path. That means I want to create my virtual environment inside this empty directory which I just now created. And what will be the name of that virtual environment? For convenience, I am keeping the name of virtual environment same as the name of its parent directory, that is my project directory. So I will save all my Jupyter notebooks and everything throughout the course in this project directory, right? So let us create this, and virtual environment will be created. Very soon you can see inside my basic ds pi 311 there is another basic ds pi 311, but this is not created by makedir, so it is not empty. It is created as a virtual environment, so it has certain things already there. You can see one important thing which it has is the activate script. Okay, so it has Python 3.11 and in the lib and lib64, but here this activate script. So activate script is required because still my base environment only is activated. So I need to create, I have created a new virtual environment. So now I need to activate it. I will go to that directory which is created as a inside my project directory. You can see here basic ds 5311 inside another basic ds 5311. This is created by make dir command. This is created by python hyphen m whenever command. Okay, so I'm inside now this directory, and now I will, if I execute bin activate source bin activate, then it will directly execute this script, right? Okay, so let us do that. Source bin activate, source bin activate. And if I do that, then my virtual environment is now activated, and you can see that prompt has changed. It was starting from base. Now before base, this prefix name of my virtual environment is there. That means now whatever I am doing, new packages I am installing, new numpy, new pandas, any version, that will be confined to this folder, and that means it will not conflict with whatever things are installed inside my base folder. This is very good practice. Otherwise, your base folder will become so bloated, and most of the time it will create so many conflicts that uh, hmm, uh, you will have to sooner or later delete whole base environment. That means installing Python from scratch. It is almost as good as you brought a new laptop. If you have kept a backup or something, that is fine. Otherwise, sometimes you may lose work also. So instead of creating a blotted base environment, you can create a virtual environment and activate it. Okay, now I can install anything inside this virtual environment. So what I will install first, I will install Jupyter Lab, and I will install this. I will first just install upgrade pip. Okay, so you can see that pip was 23 point something, but now that was uninstalled, and 25 new version of pip is installed. That saves sometimes a lot of trouble. So that one should do. Then pip install Jupyter Lab and IPY kernel. So I already have them in my temporary folder. That's why it is occurring so fast. Otherwise, if you download all these packages, then it might take time. But ultimately, you can see Jupyter Lab comes with so many different, at least 300-400 different libraries. Okay, and I am now ready with my virtual environment. Let me clear the all mess so that everything is clearly visible. Now there is one extra step required. I want to register my kernel or user for this IPY kernel, which I just now installed with Jupyter Lab and IPY kernel. These two are separate packages. So register your kernel for a user who also has the same name as the name of virtual environment. Now that is not required, but we'll follow one custom. So you will also follow that custom, so that ultimately in future chapters you will not be confused by the commands which are used. Okay, so you can see it gives install kernel space like that, and some this kind of username. So now there are three things. This is the name of virtual environment. This is the name of user who is using IPY kernel, which is installed inside virtual environment, and this is the display name of that kernel itself. That is this IPY kernel. If you want to select it for any project, then you can select it by this display name, and there is no need to keep all these three same, but we will keep them same as a custom, which keeps things a little bit smooth. For if everybody is on same page, then time is not wasted on mundane things, and we can focus on our study. Okay, now I want to start my Jupyter Lab, but as I said that I don't want my Jupyter notebooks to be inside virtual environments, but I want them to be out here. Okay, so in this region. So that is why here I am inside virtual environment. You can see these two. This is my project directory, and this is my virtual environment directory. So I am going one directory up. So that means I am now inside my project directory. This was virtual environment directory. I have come out of this by cd dot dot, and I have come out of this. Okay, and now I start my Jupyter Lab. So Jupyter space lab, and you will see what is the meaning or what is the advantage of adding that user. That means this is a step which we have done. Register Jupyter kernel with the same name. This step. If you do that step, then here in this drop down menu you can see basic ds underscore 5311. Okay, and here also you can see that basic ds 5311. You will not see all these so many kernels that are kernels which I have created or venues which I have created for various projects. You will just see this, because that is built in Python kernel. In every Jupyter Lab has that, and you will see First one, Python 3, and this basic DS. Even this applied DS also you will not see. That is for my next course. Okay. So this is the situation, and I can start any Jupyter node by clicking on this, and you can check at this corner. Okay, so then you will see that basic DS 5311. Always check this. Then whatever packages you are installing using pip install, and they will be useful only inside this kernel. So minimal conflicts, etc. And this is a because this is empty, I just created, but if it would have been, once you start working, chapter 1 IPYNB, chapter 2 IPYNB, chapter 3 IPYNB, and so on, then your folder will look like this, which I saved as a backup. Okay, all chapters in Jupyter Lab, like this, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and all that up to 30, or maybe anything else which you have saved, then exercises and everything. Okay, so then slowly, as you work with the course, your this project directory that will go on getting occupied, while this is your virtual environment directory, which you don't have to touch later on, just because as soon as you see bin, etc., share, lib, include, be sure that that is your virtual environment directory, so don't touch that. Okay, here only you will create your new Jupyter notebooks. Now this is about creation of virtual environment on Mac operating system. I have showed it demo by Ubuntu, but I also showed some initial steps which are exclusive to the Mac operating system. There also I showed two steps based on what is your hardware type, whether you are using Silicon or whether you are using Intel chips. Okay, so that is what is required for Mac OS. So in 3 chapters at the beginning of 3 lectures at the beginning of chapter 2, we have learned only about how to create virtual environment based on whether you are working on Windows, Linux, or Mac. Once this is created, I don't have to teach my course separately for all these 3 virtual, all these 3 operating system. Okay, because once you have installed Jupyter, you are going to do all your work inside Jupyter, and this Jupyter lab is browser based. So whether you are on Windows or whether you are on Mac or Linux, it will appear exactly like this. So you will get same look and feel, and that is why it is easy if you change your company, go from one thing to another, then it is easy for you to make a transition. Okay, and Jupyter Lab is very powerful. It can even give modular coding facility, like the facility of which is provided by PyCharm and VS Code, and it is completely open source and totally free and very good environment. So for most of our course, we will be using this. One parting note is that if you are reading some blogs or something, then you will later on see that for creating and managing virtual environment, the method which I have shown for these 3 lectures, that sometimes is considered a little bit old method, but and instead of that, you can also create virtual environment and manage better using Conda package. And if you don't want to install entire Anaconda, then you can just install mini Conda. Okay, a small version of Conda, and then you can use Conda command to create a new virtual environment, activate and delete a virtual environment, and do any other things. Fine. There are still other modern tools like UV, and many more tools are there. So I'm just telling them so that if someone mentions these things, then you should not follow. You should not, be afraid that what is this and this was not taught. Ultimately, all these are just different tools. Whatever you do by Python -m whenever command, that is done in easier way by Conda command, or it is done in still easier way by UV command. But basics are basics, and they have to be learned once. Okay, so thank you, and from next lecture onwards, our actual chapter 2 will start, and most of the course you will see this familiar user interface, whether you are working on Windows or whether you are working on Linux or whether you are working on Mac. Thank you. See you in the next lecture.